tinny, folks.
It always is.
Here, you want to turn that down?
I can't hear him at all now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Harry.
I'm Harry Carboni. Tonight's guest is here for a return visit, a former WILI newsboy, Jim Duffy. So he's visiting our show tonight to talk about current events.
Good evening, I'm Alan Giordano. Good news from the front, Harry. Our troops have taken Saddam Airport and have changed the name to Baghdad International. Soon we will be landing tons of humanitarian aid and further our mission to free the oppressed people of Iraq. I know this is welcome news to most of our country. Does that include you, Harry?
Let's move on with the show, Alan. I don't want to get it. I'm not going to hear to talk about the war tonight, okay?
Right.
Jim and you want to talk about the war, fine.
Well, I'm sure it's going to come up.
I don't want to hear about
it will come
phony
up.
patriots like you, Alan. Now, go ahead, please.
I'm not a phony patriot. I am a patriot, Harry.
Okay.
Jim, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Anything to add on that? You going to stay away from that?
No, I'm with you,
What do you
Jim.
mean?
I'm not talking anything.
You have a flag on your
controversial
microphone. I have one. Harry had one. He took it off. What does that tell everybody out there, Harry? You don't even like our flag.
Alan, why don't you just go on with the show and say whatever
Well, it's
you want
your
to say.
turn.
Why don't you go? Did
It's
you
your
get your
turn.
shovel?
I'm
I wanted to
waiting
know.
It's your turn.
Okay, Alan, did you get your shovel?
What do you mean shovel for what?
Last night you said you wanted to go over to Normandy and dig up all our bodies.
I didn't say I wanted to do it.
Yes, you said. You
I
said you
said
wanted
that-
them all back. I wanted to know if you went out and bought
I
your
think
shovel today.
I think those brave men and women should be removed
That's
and
what he
brought back
said.
to friendly
Did he say it or
soil.
didn't he? Go to the tape last night, okay, from last night.
He said it.
Okay.
No.
Well, anyway, Jim has been busy twisting arms in Hartford. We heard that Jim is quite chummy with the governor.
He is. Very good.
In fact, rumor has it that he traveled the governor to one of Tomaso family's vacation resorts. Jim offered to pick up the tab, but the governor said, "Hey, Jim, don't worry about it. I got a credit card that'll cover anything." Okay? And Jim also advised the governor to dump Chris Cooper, the governor's information officer, and told him to hire Michelle Sullivan as a replacement. And you got pulled.
And that happened.
He's in tight.
You got pulled.
Things just happen.
So the governor
Things
whipped
just
out his
happen.
card and he paid it, and you could have paid it.
Well, I guess he certainly got more access to that kind of
Wow.
political clout than certainly I do.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
This is Let's Talk About It, a weekly energetic talk show produced live by WILI Radio and taped for TV playback on Charter Community Channel 14 every other Monday at 11 a.m. and Fridays at 8 p.m. Have you ever watched I Did Your Mother, Jim?
No.
Did you hear about that? Last Tuesday, be playing next Tuesday, Friday. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
All right. Harry knows. Anyway, we're going to try and have those fellas on. They were on the O'Reilly show, you know. You remember them, Harry? Are you talking to me?
I'm talking. I don't know why you would have this show
Yeah.
that you're making fun of that's so disgusting
Yeah.
and so vulgar
Well,
and a piece of trash. Why would you want to put it on a family show like ours?
Well, Harry, you agree with these people if they have the right to say what they said,
I didn't say a
didn't
word. Of course, I believe anybody.
Okay.
I believe in Constitution. I believe in the Bill of Rights. I believe in freedom of speech.
Okay.
Okay. But you're the one that's trashing them and telling them how bad they are and how vulgar, and yet you invited them on our show.
Yes. I want to
Shame
see
on
exactly
you, Alan.
what kind of rats
This
they
is a
are.
family show, Jim.
Yeah, I know it is.
Seriously, and this guy talks about it. I don't understand it. It's not. Look, you're not having him. You're not inviting him on this show in my name. Let's put it that
Well,
way.
you don't have to be on that even.
Okay, well,
That's
let me
fine.
sure
That's
you
not
know
a
that.
problem. You choose.
Swearing and things like that.
I know, it's terrible. It absolutely is. Jim.
Yes.
What's going on with downtown Willimantic? We hear you're about ready to make a huge investment in our downtown. What's going on?
Well, I represent some people who are interested in doing some things in downtown Willimantic, but it'll take some time
Can
and
you
effort. And
Tell us about it. Who are these people?
No,
What
probably
type of
not.
horsepower do they have? Are you one of them?
I'm part of the group, yes.
Okay, so you're part of this
So
group.
I can speak for myself, but not for anybody else.
Not for anybody else. What types of funds are we looking at? Are we looking at state monies, federal monies, grants, state
Hopefully
loans?
private money. Hopefully
That would be a
private money.
first. wouldn't
That
it?
would be a very
That would
big
be an
first.
absolute first for
That
somebody
would
to
be a
come to
big first.
Willimantic and use their own money. Are you looking for tax considerations, or are you going to just, pay the going rate?
Well, part of the downtown, as you know, the entertainment district affords some tax credits.
Are you
and,
with the building that you're looking at? Which building are you looking at?
Well, at this point in time, we're not going to make it public, but
You
it is
don't wanna-
downtown.
Okay. Can I make it public?
You can do anything you
Okay.
want.
Would it be the Murray building, the former Hurley building?
That could be a possibility.
Okay. Now, is that in the entertainment district, or would that be in the, I guess, entertainment district?
I believe it is the entertainment district.
So where exactly does the entertainment district begin and end? I know it goes up toward the old post office. I don't know how far up past that, but how far down on I guess it's West Main? No, not West Main Street. Down where we are down here by the Hurley building. How far down would it go beyond that?
I think it encompasses most of downtown.
It covers the whole town. The whole
It
town
does?
is one big entertainment here.
Yeah,
okay?
we have a huge
It starts at the
entertainment
town
district.
hall. We know that for sure, which is the focal point of
Yeah.
entertainment.
Usually on Tuesday nights,
Okay.
there's
We
quite a
know
bit
that.
of entertainment there. Anyway, I was glad to hear that you were part of this group that's going to be looking into the possibility of investing a huge amount of money and making this city better than it is. And you know, you've grown up here. You're a hometown boy.
Certainly am.
And it's really nice to see somebody other than somebody from out of town come in and do something. It's just too bad that the town hasn't put some of its resources, some of its energy toward helping the current owner do something with the property rather than. I mean, they seem to be spending all this time on a Tinson building and the Whip building, and I don't. What do you think about that?
I don't know anything about those buildings.
You don't know anything about that.
Why would he
about
do
those
that?
buildings.
Let me ask you a question, Alan.
What?
The owner has it up for sale.
Yeah, I know.
So what is the town supposed to do?
Well, I mean, why don't they give him some help, some
Like
relief,
help,
tax-wise, things
help,
of that
help,
nature.
like which way?
Well, I mean, we want to help everybody. You know what we do around here? We wait for the buildings to literally fall down, and then we go to them and say, "Hey, we'll help you. What can we do to help you?"
Well, what could you do to help him
Well,
right
I don't
now?
know. There must have been something they could have done. There had to be something.
What, buy it, take it off his hands?
I don't know. It's no.
I mean,
buy
he's a
the
friend of
building,
yours, but I'm just trying to say, this is you believe in the free enterprise system.
Yeah.
What could the town do
Yeah.
to help him? I mean, the guy's got it up for sale.
Well, I'm sure there were all sorts of things promised. There were promises made, elevators, things of that nature, money for facade, money to help to renovate the interior, the outside, the roof. There had to be monies
Well, I
available
understood.
in
Didn't
some
he get,
sort of a
didn't
grant.
he get grant money at one time?
Yeah,
Go
but there was
back and he
there were
decided
so
not to
many.
spend it?
Well, there were so many strings attached. I think it had to do with prevailing wage. It had to do with all sorts of reporting and things of that nature. And it just got to the. And I think the money was even taxable at that point.
Jim,
And
did you
by
go to
the-
Wyndham High School?
Yes.
What does that have to do with my question?
Well, I was just trying to find out. I mean, here's a
You're
guy.
trying to get him to answer a question, aren't you? That's the
No,
first
no.
one.
I just want
yes.
to find out. Here's a guy who's a multi.
He is a
You're not
multi.
into the billionaire status, but he's up there. Okay,
I
He
wish-
has a Mercedes.
Jim,
Yes.
do you feel any guilt right now? Okay, as a lobbyist, you're a professional
lobbyist.
registered lobbyist in the state
Right.
of Connecticut. Okay,
Why should he feel guilty?
I just want to explain something, Jim. I mean, when you come back to your hometown, do you notice that a lot of the people that walk the streets have an expression of pain on their face? Do you notice that at all?
I never left.
Okay.
I
well,
never left. When you say I come back,
Well, when you
I
drive
really
in
never
from
left.
Hartford after just making a deal and coming back, do you see the pain? Do you see the empty Department of Motor Vehicle building over there?
I think that's a big
Do you
mistake.
see the Department of Social Services, the empty building?
Another
over there?
big
Okay.
mistake.
Do you know about the school money being cut through every city in the state? Okay. How about the increase in the income tax? Increase in income tax for all the citizens. I mean, it's getting painful just talking
Cigarette
about it.
tax,
How about the increase? Well, cigarette taxes. You guys didn't care about smokers. I care about them, but Alan doesn't care.
I don't care about them.
Okay. How about increases in all the other taxes? You know, like just you name them. Just married a bunch of other taxes. Decrease in welfare. Decrease in Medicaid. Do you feel the pain, Jim? Do you ever, when you drive from Hartford with that big car and the big mirror and your chauffeur says, "Jim, look in the back," or Mr. Duffy, look in the back, and as you come out of there, you're going back to Wilmington?
Well, the issue, if you're talking tax reform, you're absolutely correct.
Well, I mean,
there
when
has
you're
to
in
be there has to be tax reform, and towns like Wyndham have to have more of a say on how people get taxed.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you're in there lobbying, okay, you're lobbying for clients who have dough, obviously, because they have to pay you.
I have people who are just run of the mill
Well, who's
How do
every
they pay
day.
you?
Who's-
How do they pay you? If
They gotta have dough.
They have to have money. You don't work. I mean, you don't come cheap, Jim. How do they pay
Not
you?
compared to others.
Are these people? How can these people be running the mill? Just the average guy? They can't be.
Well, I represent, for example, the Motorcycle Riders Association.
Yeah, well,
Well,
we
they're not
know
paid.
where they get their money.
Come on, come on. I know a lot of people who own motorcycles and they're fairly well off.
Yeah,
We're not
right.
talking about
But
the
Jim,
old Hills
who's
Angels
representing? Who's lobbying for the little guy?
Everybody has a lobbyist.
Who's-
Everybody. You have a lobbyist.
Who?
Who's
is it?
lobbying for the Willimantic little guy in
who is
Willimantic?
it?
No, no, no.
Who is it?
Don't tell me
Who?
Walter.
For you two guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A guy named Nelson Brown
Who's
represents
he?
the Connecticut Broadcasters Association.
Oh, no, forget that.
He represents both of you guys.
Yeah, well,
Hold
forget
on,
him.
forget him.
We're talking
Why?
about we're talking about the average
who's-
person.
who's
right
You're
in
the
this town.
average person.
No, no, the
We're
other
not
than us.
average. We're below average.
Yeah.
Okay.
The average person in Willimantic. Who's lobbying
Who's-
for
yeah,
him
who's there
in
fighting
Hartford?
There are a
Who's
ton
that?
of people.
Who?
There are a ton of
Who?
people.
Well, fire them because they're doing a hell of a
Give me
lousy
an issue.
job.
No, there are
Give
many
us a
people.
name. Give us a
They're doing a
name.
lousy job. We don't like to
I
fire them. Give
can't
us a
tell
name.
you
Who's
a name
our
offhand. I
represent-
can
who's
tell
our
you that, for
representative?
example, the United Council of Churches has a lobbyist. The Catholic Church has a lobbyist. Most churches have lobbyists.
I don't want a
incidentally.
prayer. We don't stand a prayer here in Willimantic.
No,
In fact,
but they
don't give
do
me another
lobby.
prayer.
They do lobby for the issues you
But-
just talked about.
Yeah, but
Does Walter
But
lobby
we're not
for
winning.
us?
We're not. You know, like
Well-
Reagan said to war. They asked about the war on poverty. He said, "How's it going?" He said, "It's over." And they said, "Well, what happened?" He says,
He
"We
got
won.
elected.
The poor lost."
me-
And this is what's happening all over the country.
Let me give you an example, and then maybe we can go off from there. Representative Polakevich
Yes.
has been working on something called tax incremental financing.
Right.
Tax incremental financing is basically where the state would allow a community like Wyndham or any of the other 168 to take additional taxes that they would receive from development. And the money would stay in the town, so you can then determine where that money would be spent.
Explain that again now.
If you had, for example, the development in North Wyndham,
Yes.
theoretically that tax level is X today.
Yes.
Barren land. Development goes in, the taxes go up, the property taxes. But there's also sales taxes. So a portion of the sales taxes would stay in the town. With that flow of money, you could then have increased borrowing power to do other things within the community. It's called the tax incremental financing. Other states do it.
Whoever came up with that name.
Tax incremental financing, it's a accepted.
And they do this same process or procedure in other states?
Sure.
And it's not hard to, I mean, what kind of bureaucracy is going to administrate in our tax department? How many guys are going to have to hire that 120 grand a year
No,
to handle this?
because the money, for example, you could also do it if they change the law with pilot funds. You're more familiar with pilot funds,
Yes,
I
of course,
suspect.
absolutely, yes.
Now, for example, there's building underway at Eastern. There'll be 3 new dorms. So that means the pilot funds will increase. Now, that increased money, not the base pilot funds, but the increased money could be used by sending it back to the community and let the community decide on the flow of...
It's not done with pilot funds automatically? The increase in pilot funds, it doesn't come back to the community?
Well, the money comes back, but the town is not committed or not able to borrow against it.
Oh.
And that way you would expand your base of the ability of the town to make its own economic development, for example. Right now, you're dependent on the state of Connecticut to do any kind of development.
Well, but the thing is, the thing is what really gets me, and I'm probably the only one that sees it this way. Everybody's out there working for us, you know. Walter's working for us, and the governor's working for us, and Democratic legislators working for us. And the bottom line is we're getting screwed left and right, okay? I can't put it in any other nicer words. We're just getting beat up, okay? But everybody's out there working for us. They're doing us a favor. They're all voting on this. They're voting on, even on a national level, they're voting for health plans for us and drug prescriptions for the older people. And they all tell you, oh, yeah, I voted for this. And Walter right now will tell you, I'm voting on this and I'm doing on this. And we're going to. And in the meantime, we're getting less and less and less. What's happening, Jim? The lobbyists taking over? Are you guys? Well, I can understand why you guys are so strong, and I can see how you make so much money because those people down there, they're not too sharp. I'm telling you, I'm talking about the legislators. They cannot be too sharp.
I think what you're saying is that you don't have enough say, you being the community here in Wyndham, and I agree with you. You don't have enough say on where your state money goes or your federal money goes. It's decided for you and passed through. And I think a lot of people have legitimate claims that they have programs come in, they're funded 75, 80, 90%, and the town or the community is told they have to fund the last 10% in order to get the program.
Yeah.
The program's in place, you have to come up with 10%, and you're stuck with the program if it loses funding. So the issue, I think what you're saying is that you want more say in the money that you either give to the state or get back from the state or the feds.
Well, it always goes to that. Now, we need a break. We need, especially out here in Eastern Connecticut, and this is the thing
That's
where
true.
I talk about the guilt that you must feel coming from this area. Okay, do you have a home down in Fairfield County?
No, I live up on Parish Hill Road.
Harry, I want to.
There's no guilt. Looking at
None.
Fine.
None.
How did we lose the motor vehicle? How'd that happen?
They cut back in the motor vehicle budget.
Yeah, I understand
and,
that. How did Willimantic lose its motor vehicle office?
Well, it was a decision. I think there were 2 or 3 here in Eastern Connecticut, and Willimantic, it was determined by someone that they could, in fact,
Someone who didn't
send
like
someone
Walter.
to Norwich.
Where was our lobbyist? How did he let that happen?
Well, you have a lot of lobbyists in that issue.
They all fell down.
Well,
Yes.
I think the issue is that decisions get made at the state level, not by legislators. In this particular case, it's made by the Commissioner of Motor Vehicles.
Okay.
Well,
And
does
so then you
he get
have
to
to-
talk? Did Walter get to talk to the Commissioner of Motor Vehicles? Does
Well,
he have access to him?
Yes, but he submits a budget.
Yeah.
And then the budget process is initiated. But the commissioner can close a building, tomorrow.
Okay.
So the issue is now you have to put money back in his budget to open it back up again.
Have you heard any rumors? I know I've heard it several times. You can probably speak to it. That Walter supported the wrong candidate for the speaker position, and after doing that, and after his candidate lost, he was stripped of his plush office, his intern, and now he's out in the hall somewhere, sitting in a chair.
True.
Is that true?
Well, all
Is that true?
legislators, no.
There's no truth to
No,
that at
it's
all.
not
Absolutely
true. It
none.
was written. It was publicized that he's
Where?
back. It was publicized in the paper.
I've
it was
heard it from
publicized in the news,
I've
you've
heard it from prominent
everyone.
Democrats
Jim,
in this
I think he's
town.
in the same office he was 2 years ago.
No, the point is he backed.
Well, that's not
he
saying much
He went
either.
against Maura Lyons, and,
Yeah.
and she put it to
No,
him.
I guess
He
what
was
I'm-
a supporter of Jesse Stratton.
Okay, I guess what I'm getting at, by doing that, okay, people remember, they have long memories. Could that have hurt his ability to keep programs, to attract programs to his district because he went against the leadership?
Well, there were a number of people who went against.
Well, I'm
And-
just
and they're
saying,
all
is it
getting
possible? Is that
They're all
possible?
getting-
Was that a
She says
wise-
no. She says no.
Well, of course
Speaker
she's
the
going to
House
say
says
no. I know that, but I'm asking you. You've been
She's an
around.
honorable- she's
Wait a
an
minute.
honorable person who probably wouldn't lie.
Jim, you know how the game's played up there. Did it hurt? Did it hurt Wyndham?
I don't think so.
How can you say that?
Well, I think
how
every
can you
town.
be honest and say
I
that?
think every town is getting hit by budget cuts.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
but
more
see,
so.
I don't.
look at
I don't
us,
think the
look at
quid
us.
pro quo is.
Okay. You say she probably wouldn't lie. Okay. Well, let's talk about that for a second here. Prior to the election, none of these people would talk about the budget. They knew they had a lot of problems. Even Roland, when queried by Curry during all the debates talking about the budget, he said we should forget about the budget. Let's drive around the state of Connecticut. Look how pretty it is.
Queried.
Let's look
Okay?
at all the good
Well, I
things
got a
that
lot
have
of words
happened.
like this, okay? I can
Queried,
opine on
queried,
subjects too.
queried.
Okay? Now,
Big word.
Jim, I'm going to ask you a question,
Yes.
and we have a small audience, and I know the people out here want to know this answer from you, and I want to know an answer in yes or no, okay? Is Roland corrupt?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for being
Okay.
honest.
You're being honest on that. So
He's not corrupt.
you can say without a doubt that in the next 3 years, one of many things will not happen. One, that Roland will not be involved in a scandal that will affect him
No,
personally.
I can't say that.
Oh, okay. Two, that Roland may be asked to resign.
No, I can't answer that either.
And three, that Roland may just decide to hopefully get a job somewhere in the federal government so he could bail out of the problems he has right now. So you can't say that may not happen either.
No.
Okay. So here for a guy that you say
You know, Harry, I could ask the same 3 questions of you.
Well, no, I'm going to ask you a question here, Alan. Alan,
And how would you answer
Alan,
them?
get your shovel and get over in the corner and start digging.
Okay.
My question is, when I just asked you this, you unequivocally said, when I asked the question, I want to make sure our listeners...
That's
got
my
this.
opinion.
Okay, no, but you unequivocally you said, no, the governor is not corrupt.
And I
Yet
agree,
when I asked
concur.
the question about he may be having a scandal that might reach him personally, and you said no, I mean, you said that it could possibly happen.
Well, how can he, you know, you want
This
to,
is a
you
lobby.
think
This is
he
one
has
of
a
the
crystal
wealthiest
ball?
lobbyists in the state of Connecticut, one of the most powerful men in the state of Connecticut.
Where's
you
he
get the
getting
truth
this
from
list?
here. I've got,
Well, anyway,
I've
Harry.
got sources.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back. This is Let's Talk About It.
guest.
Our guest this evening is James Duffy, the most powerful lobbyist in the state of
One of
Connecticut.
the most powerful men in the state of Connecticut, if not
Yeah.
in New England.
And a huge developer in downtown Willimantic. We'll be right back.
If you only knew.
How about this?
You
Is
only
there such thing as a corrupt lobbyist?
We would never,
Absolutely not.
We'll never ask
Absolutely
Now
not.
that he could say,
Now that I can say,
absolute.
and there won't be one indicted that I know of.
Well, you know the thing is, no, because that's their job.
To be corrupt?
Their job is
No,
to
what you
corrupt
say is,
people.
I can guarantee they will never catch me. That I can guarantee you.
Who's the, name names, who's one of the most well-paid lobbyists in Hartford?
Well, it's hard to say because a lot of the funds go through legal firms.
Robinson and Cole,
laundering.
Robinson.
No. What they do is that they buy legal fees, and sometimes the lobbying fees are gratis. So it's difficult to tell.
Yeah, it is difficult.
The Mashantuckets
Couldn't
spend
prove it.
millions.
But can you tell me who the major players are there around the Capitol?
Gaffney Bennett, they're at the top. Sullivan Lashane.
Mr. Bell is still a figure.
He's still there. I saw him
Yeah,
yesterday.
I've heard he doesn't look well
Is
at
he still-
all. What's he weigh? About
His hair
100
went
pounds?
dark.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he
somebody says
died
very,
of
very
shade.
thin, though. He's very thin.
Went dark. I look in the mirror every day. I'm waiting for mine to go back.
I was waiting for mine to go dark. Never happened.
Right, yeah. Look every
All
day.
former legislators, wouldn't you say?
Sure.
Lobbyists?
Lobbyists?
Most.
Not necessarily.
No.
Oh, you're-
Pat Sullivan isn't. Jay
I was
Melchinsky
thinking
isn't.
Gaffney, and I was thinking of-
Yeah. Well, Gaffney hasn't been
How
there.
exactly do you get to be a lobbyist?
That's a good
How do you
point.
do
No,
that?
ask when we come back. Take a Wyndham High School graduate. Anybody
Right.
listening? How could you become a will?
I know how he did it.
Start
I know how
thinking
you
boy
did
state
it.
or girl state?
Well, we're gonna find out. Jim's gonna tell
Didn't
us how
go.
he did it.
Jim, didn't you get your start in politics with what
Dennis
the hell?
O'Brien.
No, not
No,
Dennis
Alan
O'Brien.
Mazzola.
Alan Mazzola. When Alan Mazzola was state rep, right?
That's right.
You hung
No,
around with him.
no. I was the political editor for the Norwich Bulletin.
That was it.
That was
Well,
before.
we gave him a start.
And then it was
Absolutely
right here at
correct.
WILI at a little,
Absolutely
what,
correct.
100-watt radio
Covering-
station.
covering
You
the
made a
town
lot
hall.
of guys.
Hey,
except for us, you never-
WKRPN in Cincinnati, and there's the big guy,
Yes, I know it.
never-
I'm looking for Lonnie
We
Anderson.
might go regional.
Regional, yeah, you're
Dr.
right.
Johnny Fever.
Dr. Johnny Fever, right there, right.
You have to
Les
take him
Nessman.
along.
What's this?
Les Nessman.
Yeah,
What?
he's your foil,
What foil?
and he's gonna wear the red sweater.
I'm,
too.
I'm tired of Alan right now, okay?
I know.
Hey, Harry, feelings mutual. It really is. I'm disgusted with you. I've been for quite a while.
Get your
Taking your
shovel
flag
out.
down. Take your
I
flag
got
down.
your ticket to
You're
France.
you're disgusting.
Get over there
I'm
and start digging.
gonna call you Sap.
Okay, welcome back to Let's Talk About It. This is Harry with my my digger. We call him Digger. Alan Giordano, now known as Digger. Okay? And our guest tonight is Jim Duffy, one of the, as we mentioned before the break, one of the most powerful, wealthiest men in the state of Connecticut.
No longer just a
And-
lobbyist.
No more.
Just powerful.
And a Wyndham High School graduate. Alan's going to talk to him right now, and I want all you Wyndham High School graduates to listen to how it can be done, how this can affect you.
Yeah, but just forget about growing up to be president. You want to aspire to being a Connecticut lobbyist, because I'm going to tell you, Jim is living proof of success. He reeks of it. You really do.
Right now, he's sitting there and
The
there's money
clothes,
falling on the floor.
the cars.
I'll pick it up later, okay? Just
You know, is your Mercedes? What color is your Mercedes?
Tan, I think.
Is it tan?
Tan,
You don't
I think
remember?
that's
Do you have
the
more
one
than
that-
one?
No, no.
You only have the one?
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't buy one like Bill Meehan. He always gets the white that are fleet cars that are leftovers. You know, you didn't buy one of those. You bought a special color. So you ordered yours.
You bought a big one.
You bought the big one. Anyway, how? Tell everybody, how do you get to become a lobbyist? I mean, it's not something that you just walk in and fill an application out. Connections, you know, what is it? How do you do it? How do you fall into
I
such a
started
cushy
working
job?
here at WILI
Oh, come on, you
So
didn't
like
get
us?
started. You mean like,
Like
us?
us?
So
40,
there's
40
hope?
years ago.
40 years ago. What
40.
were you doing?
I went
Harry,
to high
you-
school.
No, I mean, what did you do?
I went to high school.
No,
No,
I mean,
What'd you do here? Did you? I mean,
News.
what'd you do?
I was on the news
You actually read
department.
the news?
Yeah.
Yeah, but were you an intern?
No.
Did they pay you?
Yeah.
What'd you get paid in those days?
Probably about the same we get paid now, $2 an hour?
That much.
That's what we get here now.
I forget it. It was
About $2 an hour.
Yeah, it was great though. I was a high school student.
And where did you go? What happened after that?
I went to Manchester, WINF.
Wow, so you've
Why,
been in radio
man?
quite a bit then. I mean,
And
you've
what did
had
you do?
more
What did you do there?
experience.
News too?
No, all talk.
Talk.
Talk radio?
Talk
Really?
radio.
40 years ago? 35 years ago?
Yeah.
What'd you
19.
talk about?
Everything like you guys.
Okay,
You're
and what did
kidding.
you do after that?
What did I do after
You didn't run
that?
out to college or anything like that right off.
No, I went to college.
Okay,
I was going to college same time.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to UConn and Eastern.
In Eastern.
Right.
Okay, so you're going to school at the same time you went to Manchester.
Yep.
And what did you do after that?
What did I do after
What did you
that?
major in school?
English.
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 Well, you need that when you talk
Right.
to these people. Okay. And
Went to the Norwich Bulletin.
All right, so how'd you become a lobbyist?
no, wait, let's take through the thing. Went to Norwich Bulletin. What'd you do there?
I was the political editor.
What political
Sound
background
like
did
an
you have to be a
interrogator,
political?
Harry.
What
Doesn't it
background
sound
did you
like
have
an
in politics to
interrogator?
be a political
Well, I
editor?
started out covering local things and moved my way up.
Local things like town meetings
Sure.
and selectmen's
Yep.
meetings and so forth.
Absolutely.
And you,
Okay.
instead of the
Cops.
Chronicle, you couldn't get a job at the Chronicle.
No, actually, I couldn't.
Did you apply?
No.
Oh,
Okay, but
so
they
how do you
didn't
know
want
you
it.
couldn't?
Well, they had no openings.
The word was out on the street. Okay, so then where did you go from Norwich?
Where did I go from Norwich? Actually, I worked at the legislature.
How'd you get a job from there? Well, political. How long did you stay in Norwich? Let's put it that way, Norwich.
I was there almost 3 years.
And then you went from there to the legislature?
Yep.
To work as what?
I was the secretary of the General Law Committee.
Okay. Now, Harry, here we have a man, and I don't think that I mean I know your father. You don't come from a family that has these huge political ties.
No?
Okay.
Nope.
So here's a guy who started from the beginning. You know, pulled
Good place
himself
to
up.
start.
No, but you really did. You're not one of these people that, hey, my father had a position, my uncle, my grandfather, this or that. You actually made your own way.
But I like politics.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you were working for the legislature, how long have you been a lobbyist?
Been a lobbyist since 73.
70,
30 years.
30 years.
Were you ever indicted?
No.
Okay.
No.
Now, the thing is, there's obviously
plan
here's the
to
thing.
either.
There's money in politics. There's no
How about in
question
the next
about it.
3
Is that
years?
correct, Jim? Seriously.
There's money in politics.
There's money in politics. That's where the money's at.
Sure, there's
I
money.
mean, when you think about it, right? There's
Well,
in
there's
politics.
money in other
entertainment.
places.
Well, there's money
Money
in
in other
entertainment,
places.
But there's a lot of money in politics. And if somebody really wants to get involved, they have to start young. I mean, really, I would
Can
think
I ask
there's
you a
kids in
question? No,
town
no, Jim,
committees, get
Jim.
involved, vote.
I was on the town committee in Wyndham.
See?
Jim, how do you make a lot of money in politics?
How do you make a lot? First of all, you don't run for office.
Oh, so you don't make it as an elected official?
No.
Okay, you make
No.
it as what?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. You know, some people make.
Well, what if you want to make a lot of money?
make a lot of money?
How do you make a lot of money in politics?
What do you consider a lot of money?
Wow,
Well, like where you are in the stratosphere.
like
Nobody-
you
what are
know, a
talking
couple hundred, 250 a year.
Well, that's not really a lot of money, but
See?
Well, it's a lot to me and Harry.
No, it's not to me. No, it's not to me. I'm broke, but I understand what a lot of money. We're talking about a guy like
Oh,
you,
half a
annually
million,
half a
million.
I don't think anybody in politics makes $500,000. Not in the elected end.
No, we're
And
talking
there
about
might
the
be
lobbyist end.
well, in Connecticut there might be a handful of people.
That are in that half the mill range?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, because as I said off the air, that a great deal of the lobbying effort is now funded through legal systems, legal firms.
Those lawyers,
So-
you just can't keep them out, can
And
you?
you're not a lawyer.
No,
You don't have
I'm not a
law
lawyer,
degree.
no.
So that's
No
amazing
law
too
degree.
in
So
itself,
how many
right?
lobbyists are attorneys?
Oh, I don't know.
More attorneys than former politicians.
Good question. There are fewer lawyers now lobbying
Yeah.
than there were when I began.
Okay.
But there are probably 12 or 1,500 lobbyists in
know,
Connecticut.
And how many of those are former politicians, former state legislators?
Probably under 100.
That's all.
Yeah, that's
Harry?
it. Things have changed.
All right, I want to move back to some local stuff again. I know you were involved in this petition that was circulated in town.
What
You want
petition
to-
is that?
Well, there was a petition going around town. I think they submitted 800 or 900 names the other night at the Finance Board meeting in Willimantic to save the Economic Development Department, or was it the position or the person? I don't know.
The department.
It was the department. You signed a petition.
Yes.
Okay. Why do you feel the position is so valuable, and do you feel that the current director, administrator within that department has or is doing a good job?
It's a conduit to get answers
Yeah.
in regard to our earlier conversation about someone wanting to know about Willimantic, about the buildings. I've lived here all my life. A lot of things about the town I don't know.
Okay.
It gives you a conduit, a direct person to call and say, look, I need to know A, B, C, and D. I need A2 surveys. I need, what's the taxes on a particular parcel.
All that stuff. Okay.
Is
all right.
is
Our local chamber of commerce couldn't do that job.
No.
It's
Okay.
not done by chamber of commerces in other towns.
All right, Harry. All right, you answered part of the question. The other part was, do you feel that the current director of the department has and is doing a good job?
When I called him, he answered all my questions.
You know how to
That's
answer the
it.
phone, so that makes him a good economic
Does
developer.
No,
he
he
answer
answered
the
all my
phone?
questions.
Oh.
I had
Okay.
a number of questions.
Yeah,
to
and he could
ask.
answer them, so that means he's.
And he could give me a history of what happened prior, and presumably
Now you're
what will happen in the
you're
future.
referring to your dealings concerning the proposed development that you're looking at currently.
Correct.
So you feel that this man handled himself very well. He was
Very professionally.
very informative. He was very,
I didn't have to go to 3 different places.
Okay.
4 different places.
well, you're friendly with this person, aren't you? I mean, it's not like you just met him. I mean, you've known him for years. You've been
no,
involved.
I've known him probably only for a year and a half.
Okay. Anyway, I just want to move to one more thing, Harry. I know you're going to want to jump on this one. You've been around this town. You know all the players, the movers and the shakers, Jim. The Mills. It's back in the news. It's in the news every day. It's either on the radio. It's on the front page of the Chronicle. There's an article tonight in the paper, and it was written by, or it's concerning a local resident, Neil Messick. We're all familiar with Neil. He was a former alderman, I think, back in those days, and he wants an audit performed of the mills. Okay, he just feels that it's the people deserve that. That's the least the people of this town deserve. The taxpayers of the state. Huge amount of taxpayer money went into that project. We all know that it's facing bankruptcy. And this was the reply, and I'm sure you know this person too, Kevin Johnston.
Yes.
The state auditor, Kevin Johnston, said that while his office has been keeping a close eye on the Mills project, no specific action, including an audit, is imminent. Despite not planning to audit the Wyndham Mills Development Corporation's books, Johnston said that his office has questions about whether the project, and I quote, ever made sense, numbers-wise. The Wyndham Mills Development Corporation troubles, he said, may have less to do with whether expenditures of public money were documented appropriately than with, and I again quote, where people's heads are at. What do you're up in Hartford, you hear all these things, you hear the little comments, and you get involved, and you hear things that the average guy isn't privy to. What are they saying about the mills up there, and what's going to happen? You must know something.
There's very little comment,
Okay.
simply because people have looked at that particular deal
Yeah.
in a very favorable light. Actually, they were very optimistic.
Well, you heard the comment of the state comptroller.
Yes.
He said that it never made sense from the very beginning. He obviously how I read that is he can't imagine how it happened to begin with.
Well, he set that off against,
Yeah.
in 2020 hindsight after the fact.
Wow.
It certainly makes sense to renovate a mill if in fact the building is in good shape. The question is, and I go back to my original position, I think that the real issue is not how the money was spent at the mills. The question is, was that the issue? Was that the location of where people wanted that money spent? What I'm saying is that in order for Wyndham or any other town, economic development should be decided not in Hartford. It should be decided here. So the issue is really that money would not have come to Wyndham if it didn't go to the mills.
Okay.
So the issue is that we could not have spent it any other way because we had no decision making.
All right, let me just read you a comment by Wyndham Mills officials. They said that the project never reached self-sufficiency because they never had enough money to prepare enough space to get it
That's
and
true.
generate enough income to break even.
That's
now, wait a
true.
minute, wait a minute. Walter, the fellow that you claim is up there representing us, Walter made a comment not too long ago and said that the mills, it's time to sell the mills because they've fulfilled their mission. Was it their mission to never, ever break even?
The mission
is that
was to
what
bring
he's
it to
saying?
bankruptcy. There's a
Was
lot
it
of
their
conflict.
mission to bring the mills to bankruptcy? Because that's exactly what he said. That's exactly what's happened. And that's exactly what the state comptroller found.
Well, and I'm certainly not an expert. I was not part of the deal, and I'll tell you what I understand of the deal is that, again, there were people outside of the community who decided that they were going to make the outside of the building look presentable.
And it does. It looks terrific.
Right, and they spent the majority of the money
$33
on
million
that.
paint job.
Right.
Yeah.
As opposed to having half of the mill fixed with build-out money available. So, that's a decision somebody else made. Was it good? I don't know.
Who made it?
A good question.
Hey, a good question here is Mike Paulus telling the fellow who asked for the investigation that
Oh,
if he wants an audit, pay for it himself.
Yeah, just another little snotty
Another
remark
snotty
by
remark.
our first selectman.
But Jim, do you ever hear this?
Not appropriate
Here's a
at
couple
all.
of things that bother me about this thing is that it's probably dirty because there's Elif was involved in this, Tommaso was involved in this. Okay, we have the fact right now this National. We don't know who National is, and we're just going by what they're. In other words, here we are coming to a decision point again with the mills. Rush, bang, bang. Got to hurry up. We had to hurry up and give them the money for from the town. Now we got to hurry up and approve the sale, and we don't even know who National could be. A friend of Bill, friend of John, friend of Roland's. You know that little group that was out there that Elif got picked up with, and what's the guy's name? Albozak. Alabozak. What's the name of the group? TAER or something like that, whatever it may be. And they say they don't know who the R is in that group. Do you know who the R is in that
No,
group?
I don't. No, I don't.
Well, Jim, for a smart guy who makes his money
Well,
knowing
we're not,
things, you don't
Harry,
know too much.
Harry, if you want to get information out of Jim, you have to pay him. He's a lobbyist.
that's true.
All right? But Jim, what do you think? Given all the information, given the history, given all the, I'm sure you have more data and you know more about the mills than we certainly do. Do you think there should be an investigation? Do you think there should be an investigation state level through the Attorney General's office? There are some people that are calling for that, and there are people in this town that have sent letters to the Attorney General, and I know there are people that are going to be circulating a petition to ask for an investigation through the Attorney General's office concerning the mills from its very inception. Do you think it's warranted? Do you think that it's fair? Do you think that that's the least that the people of this town should get?
Well, I think the issue is,
Simply
has
yes or
anyone
no?
has anyone said that money didn't go into the mills? I think the problem is the community or some people in the community question where the money was spent. It was all spent in the mills.
We don't know that. Jim, you say that.
Well, how do
okay?
you know that?
We really don't know that. That's what the investigation, because you say to yourself, could they be that incompetent to take the $33 million and blow it, and not even have a building ready to go to be built out? Okay, that it's got a nice facade, but it's empty inside. And my understanding is, from talking to people who were contractors there, the way the contracting bidding process went, okay, was very suspect. All right, I really mean that. These are from vendors who did business with it. Very suspect the way the bidding process was. So maybe it is corrupt. There's some corruption relative to the bidding process. So we don't really know. For you to say that, we don't know. And that's what I think the investigation should come out and say.
Well, I think you have to have evidence that there is corruption before
Well-
you start a probe, because you could probe everything.
Well, That point is, there may be, if you have individuals that are involved
think-
in this program who are also being looked at from other angles.
Jim, in all fairness now, you sound like an apologist for this, but if you take the statement, I don't want to read the entire thing again, but if you take the statement from the state auditor, this Kevin Johnston, who said that the project never made sense from the very beginning, he questioned it. It says that right here. The project never made sense number-wise. And he's not saying that the money was misspent. He just wants to know where were their heads at. Who came up with this program? Who came up with this idea? How did it ever get as far as it got? How could that have happened?
Well, I think at the time when the mills were started, and I'm only guessing at this point in time, that there are an awful lot of people who, in fact, believe that renovating old textile mills is a profitable venture for the community. The state may lose money on it, but the state's not in the business to make money. It's in the business to prop up communities like Windham to get some tax relief.
What did we get out of it then? If after $33 million, other than you could buy a painting, we could probably buy a beautiful painting and have a little museum and have tourists come by to visit. What did the town get out of it?
Well, from what I understand, that they're close to breaking even. So you do have.
Well, what is close?
They're not close to breaking
I
even.
don't know.
They're not
Well,
close
how
to
do you make
breaking
a statement then? You say they're close. But
It's
That's
close
what
is like
are they
relative.
within
That's what you've been told.
Are they within 20,000, 30, 40,000 a month? Are they paying their bills and they're close? Are they not paying their bills and they're close?
I'll tell you how far.
What is
I'll tell you how close they are. They're this close. They need another 4 million, 3.5 to 4 million of work in the mills to bring it to have a space so that they can then bring it to break even. That's how close. So it's not like it's only the 20 grand a month they're losing. And I'll agree with what Jeff Vose said, because I tried to get rent space there. They didn't have the money after they throw $33 million in there, and they needed another $5 million to build out to do what they had to do. They didn't do it. They walked away. In other words, it's crazy after investing all that money.
All right, Harry.
The whole process is.
Jim, do you think it's time that they sold the property to a private investor? You think it's?
I don't know that much about the building.
Okay.
I would say that the community has to decide. From a point of view of tax revenue.
Well, they're not
going
going to let the community decide, because if we believe what our first selectman's telling us, that decision is going to be up to the selectmen, not to the community. It's not going to be made up of a vote, a town meeting, a referendum. It's going to be made up of the vote's going to be taken by the selectmen. That's the way they interpret the not regulation, but the letter, the document, the addendum, whatever it was signed when the people gave the $2.25–2.5 million to the Mills Corporation. Some people are going to question that. They're going to say that's not what it meant, that the people should be able to vote on that issue. But, as Harry said, the fact remains it was $33 million. Walter said that we've fulfilled our mission. What was the mission? To do what? To bring it to a point that it's bankrupt?
Make it look good on the outside.
Well, okay, so why don't they just come out and say that? Why are they hiding behind this, hiding behind that, saying this, not saying that? I mean, people just don't trust them anymore. They don't believe them. They've been lied to so many times. Really, Harry. I mean, even when
I don't disagree.
The
Mike Wallace believes them.
the referendum to get the money, they put these pamphlets out. They called everybody. I mean, now you can't get two people to agree on the same thing. I didn't hear him say that. Well, I did. Well, I didn't. And this is when they met with who was that lady from the state? The one who held us up. That it's extortion. Either you put up the money, we're not going to give you any more money. Well, nobody said they heard it, but then people said we did hear it. Who do you believe these days?
Well, again, I go back to the original point. I think both of you gentlemen are talking about the inability of local residents to take $33 million in state money and determine where it should go or not go. You had the state of Connecticut tell you that, in fact, it was going to go to this particular project.
All right, well, let me go off this.
All right, well, wait. We have 2 minutes.
I understand, but this is very important.
Yeah,
What's going to happen to what's happening to our budget now? What's going to happen, buddy? What's the word out there for this budget that's
You have
coming out?
to close about $1 billion gap before.
$1 billion gap. So what are
June.
we going to hit now? What are they going to do now to close this $1 billion gap?
Well,
hit
the
the
increase.
smokers.
The increase in the taxes that they did the last time around may close the gap on their own.
They think so.
I don't know if they think so, but there's a possibility it might happen. So you might not see a major jump in any other taxes if revenues
how about
go
any
up.
more cuts?
Cuts are always a reasonable
No, but I mean,
way
are
to
they
look at
talking
things.
more cuts?
Sure.
In other
Sure.
words, okay, so where are the cuts going to come?
Name an agency, and they're talking about cutting troopers at Bradley Field,
Yeah.
taking 13
All
out
right,
of
we've
position.
got less than a minute. Who's going to be the next governor?
Don't know.
Won't be John Rowland.
It won't be John Rowland.
The word is it won't be Jody Rowe.
Don't know.
Who's a Democrat? Who's leaning toward the running in
You've
Democrats?
got a couple of ladies looking to run. Nancy Wyman,
Susan Beisowitz.
Susan Beisowitz.
Any names out of the Republican Party other than Rel?
Not that I've heard of.
You haven't heard of anybody. Who would you like to see governor?
You.
See that the guy's a
I'd be out of
lobbyist.
there.
You know,
I
his
mean,
bread
I
is
got another
buttered
question.
on both sides.
We have a town resident here who's been busy building a model. Okay. I don't-
model?
Leslie O'Brien.
Oh.
When she took over, she's, I guess, second position at Democratic State Committee.
Correct.
Okay. And she said she was going to take the Democratic model that's been so successful here in Wyndham and bring it to the state. Have you seen any of this happening lately? Is there any buzz around the Capitol about the job she's doing? Or
Nope. Don't know.
You don't know anything about
Don't
this?
know. Nope.
What, are you a registered Republican or Democrat?
Democrat.
You're a lobbyist taking this money from the poor people, and you're a Democrat? No shame, Jim.
None. None
An
whatsoever.
Irishman.
An Irishman, right.
How's Edie
Absolutely.
Craig doing? How's our friend Edie?
She slugs away at her issues.
What do you mean she slugs away? What is she
She
slugging?
slugs away. She wants
hit the
to
guy
make,
up at
she wants to
UConn
make
and who-
stores. No, she wants to make stores a
A
Dry
dry
campus.
dry campus.
And they're saying right now she's taking on she's taking the wrong.
It's going to be a big battle.
Big
It's going to be
battle.
an interesting
This
one.
might be the end
you
of her
ever go
career.
out with her? You ever go out with her and have drinks or something after sessions?
No, because you're limited to how much you can spend on a legislator as a lobbyist.
What is the limit
$50 a
Oh.
year, a session.
for a year?
Yeah,
For a
well,
year.
for session.
Isn't that sort of? So how do you spend it under the table that so you don't get caught? How's it done?
Oh, no, I make them pay.
Yeah, I know, but Harry wants to know how do you get away with more than $50
Yeah,
and
how
not
do you do
report
it?
it? How do you do that?
You don't.
Use
You
cash.
make them pay.
Well,
No,
you
I
use
know you're not
cash.
ready, but come on,
You
how's
make
it
them
done?
pay.
Well, how does it done? It's got to be done because we know you're not going to take a guy out and spend $50 a year. So how's it done? Tell us right here.
No, I
Come
tell
on.
you, things have changed.
Come on,
Radically.
tell us. We won't tell anybody. Come on.
No, I tell you, it has changed.
It's changed.
Things have changed.
Anyway, this has been Let's Talk About It. We want to thank our guest, James Duffy, the most powerful, most influential,
One of the wealthiest
lobbyist in the state of Connecticut. And he's a stand-up guy. He comes back for more.
He's really. You see
Yeah.
a guy like is Gates a stand-up guy? I guess he
They're
is.
all
Very
stand-up
similar.
guys.
So
They're all-
It's amazing.
Lobbyists.
The top guys
Just like
are
Joe
always
Biden.
accessible, which is great.
Well, say goodnight, Harry.
Good night, folks. And if you need help, really, if you want to see a guy at the top of his game, Jim Duffy's the man. Well, how about you for governor?
The hell with
No,
president. Be a lobbyist.